Michael, don't leave me here. Michael, help me.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about Dying Light 2, and more specifically the Dying Light 2 update, which added tower raid and how it's kinda mid. Before we get started, I just want to urge you to leave a like and subscribe and help get this video seen by Techland, since videos like these are the main way to get the community's voices heard. Also, real quick, Dave check.
Dave.
The man, the myth, the legend, David-san, Daijoubu desu ka? He doesn't want to be held, I don't think. Anyway, let's start the video. As I'm sure many of you know, February 19th was the official release of Tower Raid, a long-awaited game mode that was finally meant to add some infinitely replayable content to Dying Light 2. But to say that Tower Raid is infinitely replayable would be the overstatement of the century. You wouldn't be far off delusional saying that it has even a lot of replayability, and I'll tell you exactly why that is. The first point being level variety. We were promised a fleshed out game mode that Techland had been working on for the past 2 years, a game mode where no run is the same due to RNG/roguelike gameplay mechanics. For example, a wide variety of floors visually and with unique objectives in each one. But if you look at what we have, every run is genuinely almost the same. The floors are for some reason always in the same order, maybe with a change of 1 or 2 floors per run. What happened to all of the floors from the beta build, by the way? They are just not in the game. All of the objectives in Tower Raid, well, the large majority of them, are just killing infected and finding a keycard. I don't know how we have reached this point when there were so many other levels before the full release of Tower Raid, so why do we not see them in the current build? I mean, in the alpha build, I even played a cool parkour level that had chemicals and platforms, so you had to parkour through them. But if you fell in the chemicals, you died. Like, why would you get rid of that? That was like so perfect. That is the exact kind of floor variety that we need in the final build. We need levels like parkouring around, levels with puzzles in them, something to change up the flow a bit rather than just hitting W key and spamming left click the entire time. But 9, we have the same levels to cycle through. Why have I fucking what? But no, we just have the same levels that we cycle through that have me bored within like 2 attempts maybe. Anyway, that is our first point done. Secondly, let's talk about the class system. As it stands, there is currently a class system added to Tower Raid, similar to which was in the beta build. These classes provide the characters with their set loadouts and weapons which they can take into the raid, but this is quite problematic. I'm not saying they should remove the classes, but they should provide you with a separate game mode that you can go in if you want to use your own gear at least. And I will tell you the reason for this. As of right now, there is nothing for players to use their actual gear in Dying Light 2 since there's no content in the game. Meaning all of the rewards that we are earning from Tower Raid and any cool rewards and weapons that we have earned from events, we have nothing to use them in. And the one game mode that maybe gave us something to use them for, we can't use them. And this understandably left players quite frustrated. So the best solution would be to allow players to use their own gear in Tower Raid, or at least have the option to. I personally would probably use the classes anyway because I like more of a challenge, but I do see where the community is coming from in not being able to use their own gear. This alone would drastically increase the incentive to play Tower Raid, since you can earn rewards that you can unlock and take into your next run and use. So yeah, that is the second point done. Thirdly, we have the enemies. Now, I don't know if I'm alone in saying this, but I'm genuinely kind of bored of fighting the same infected that we've been fighting since the release of the game. All of the levels are fighting the same enemies and some runners that just constantly sprint at you. We need more variety in these levels and more enemy variety. Oh my god. And more enemy variety. There should be a new faction of enemies, human enemies called scavengers, who will be looting the tower for more valuables. And they should have their own levels as well. That is just one idea of how they can incorporate some new enemies into the game. And this was far-fetched, but I was hoping Techland would add... And this was far-fetched, but I was hoping Techland would add at least one new enemy to the game. I was personally thinking of infected dogs. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because Techland had these dogs in the game files already, and they were originally meant to be in the base game, until, like most of the good things in Dying Light 2, it got scrapped.
Oh my god.
But if Techland could go back and dig up those game files, imagine if we had a maze level with these dogs roaming the maze and they are chasing you and you've got to try and make it out the maze. Again, just one of the ideas I could think of, which seems to be one of the main problems with this game mode, is that Techland didn't get very imaginative with the floors. There are so many cool ideas and concepts that I could think of just right now for floor levels, but it's like Techland just went for the bare minimum. But I guess I can let not having a whole new enemy type slide, although it would be a lot more preferable. Where I can't let it slide is in the boss fight, because the boss fight is again just fighting a revenant on top of the roof. No one wants to fight the same bosses all the time. Can we at least get like one new boss fight? Or if you're going to have a revenant, maybe add some new mechanics to defeat the revenant. For example, the revenant has a shield around him. You can't break the shield unless you deposit, etc, etc, and then you have to break the shield before killing him or something like that. You know what I mean? Something to change it up a bit. I mean, the final boss fight being just to kill a revenant, which by the way you do in the floors below, is just so underwhelming. Imagine if we had a new boss that we could take on. A new boss that had new mechanics to kill him. For example, shields that you can only destroy with items in the environment. I hate to say this when Techland are still adding content to the game, but it seems like all of the content we have had in like the past year has just been straight up lazy. Okay, I said it. It's been lazy. And honestly, the main killer of this game mode is that there is no new infected. There is no new mechanics introduced with this game mode. So it's like we are just doing the same thing that we've always been doing in this game, but this time in a more cramped environment. And then there is also the same levels that keep repeating themselves. So how can this be an infinitely replayable game mode when there's no variety? The last thing I'm going to talk about for this game mode is the loot and rewards in this game mode. I'm going to keep this short, okay? Prior to the release of Tower Raid, my expectations were that we would have a whole new loot pool to explore. But upon release of the game mode, there were only 2 new weapons added to the game, both of which are just imports from Dying Light 1. Now remember when I said that Techland were being lazy earlier? Yeah, that's what I meant. The community was expecting so many more rewards and a Tower Raid exclusive loot pool and just brand new weapons, gear pieces, stuff that we could collect around the map, but no. We have 2 new weapons, both from Dying Light 1 that we've seen already. While I do love the Choir Dagger and it was one of my favorite weapons in Dying Light 1, I am happy it's back, don't get me wrong. But the fact that the 2 imports from Dying Light 1 are the only new pieces of content we have, that's where I'm like, so some new Tower Raid gear pieces, exclusive gear pieces would be cool. Going back to my point about allowing us to take our own gear in. Imagine if you could unlock Tower Raid exclusive gear pieces that give you buffs in Tower Raid. You can then equip that gear and go into Tower Raid. Now I know I've been bashing Tower Raid for this entire video, but it's not all bad. There are some good parts about Tower Raid which I don't want to ignore. For example, even though there was a lack of variety in the floors, the levels that we did have were really well designed. You can see that the team put a lot of work in designing the cool and interesting looking levels. I also really like that there is a perk system which allows you to get stronger by increasing your stats and granting you new and useful skills and buffs. And I must say, the characters actually look pretty good. I do like their designs, and also you can upgrade their starting loadouts to make them even more powerful. But I can't help but feel like this game mode is severely lacking and the shadow of what it could really be. And now that the Tower Raid rant is over, let's quickly talk about Dying Light 2 as a whole. After Dying Light 2's release, we got some community updates that genuinely improved the game. We also got several content updates which added new missions like the Tolgrim for Team mission, Jay's Gun mission, and we had 2 of the biggest updates like the Gore update and the Good Night Good Luck update. However, I am not sure if this is a coincidence, but since Tencent took over Techland, the content we have had over the past year, it's just been straight doo-doo water. We have had no crossovers, we have had no big community updates. Bro, they haven't even completed the roadmap from winter 2023. Where the bloody hell is community support, okay? The 5 years of content that we have been promised are shaping up to be just bundles and crappy events that consist of nothing but tedious bounties and rewards. I really hope that the last 2 years of Techland's support plan for Dying Light 2 isn't going to be a reflection of the past year, because if it is, then this game is finished. I am pretty sure that about 60% of the Dying Light 2 community is no longer playing the game and they are just waiting for the beast to come out, just like myself. The only fun that I find in playing Dying Light 2 at the moment is when I'm using a mod. I mean, your boy's still here waiting for a PvP mode to be added to the game, but I'm not gonna get into that. So yeah, as it stands, I mean, most of the community is just going to be waiting for the beast to come out. Dying Light 2 is kind of finished, I won't lie to you. It's kind of cooked. I do also remember Techland mentioning a survival game mode a way back. I feel like that could possibly happen at some point in the next 2 years, maybe like the final update for Dying Light 2. But in general, I just feel like if we had a PvP mode or this survival mode, it would last a lot longer than the Tower Raid is going to. Anyway, that's what I'm going to talk about for now. We're going to leave out the bugs and glitches, okay? Because don't get me started on that. When this game mode came out, the amount of crashes I had, I could not complete a single run without crashing. which almost led to me giving up completely. But I'm going to go too far into that, so I'm not going to do that. Yeah, I feel like I've covered the main ones. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you think. Do you agree with my opinions? Do you have anything else that you would like to see in Tower Raid, or do you think that the game mode is already perfect? I personally think there are just so many improvements that we could make to this game mode, and if you were to tell me that this was the final build of Tower Raid, this is the best they could come up with, yeah, nah. This ain't gonna cut it. This ain't gonna cut it, fam. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe, and peace. Okay, wait. I know you want to see Dave one more time. Fly on the wings of love. Fly on the wings of love.